Hey everyone, welcome to the LEGO Machine Community Podcast, where we talk to veteran LEGO Machine builders about themselves, what they're up to, and about the community. I'm your host Mika, also known as TurtleLegoProductions, and we're here with Christian from TheKungFuPotato. So he created his channel on September 29th, 2012, and mainly uploaded candied machines. So Christian, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Yeah, I guess I'm really glad to be part of the podcast. I've kind of been out of the Lego scene for a while now. As Mika said, my channel was put up back in September of 2012, and it's definitely been a long road from there.
Well, let's get right into it then. So first question is, when did you get started and why?
That's sort of after my birthday, actually. And I was kind of hesitant at first to sort of start making videos. I mean, I was only in sixth grade, so I didn't really know what YouTube was all about. But basically, what kind of inspired me was, I mean, it sounds kind of lame, but I was just watching like other Lego Machine videos, and in particular, like I don't even know how I got into candy machines and why that's sort of the main thing I did, but like just seeing other people's work, just with Lego machines and stuff, was just like, hold on a second, like I didn't even know this was possible with Lego. And at the time, I was kind of just like getting interest in Lego, and I mean, like I've been into Lego for like a super long time, but actually like being into it was kind of around that time. But basically, what I wanted, one thing I noticed in terms of like all the candy machines in particular was that they were also similar. And I remember at the time, like, what made a candy machine stand out was like if it had like a cool design, or if the mechanism was new, or if like, if the mechanism was new, is it something that is like better than, someone else's mechanism and stuff. And so I was like, yo, I'm gonna come up with my own mechanism. People are gonna give me credit. Like, it's gonna stand out from the rest. I'm gonna have a cool design. And yeah, that's sort of why I started making machines, just because like I wanted it to be different. I wanted it to stand out and like pretty much make people think that my machines were cool and stuff.
I do remember back in the day when you were uploading, most of the designs you made were simple, but back then during that time, like almost everyone made like these, either they were like just like single colored red, yellow, or then mix of those colors and just like random designs. Um, and that was kind of like the standard. And then you were making these plain white machines. Like there were other plain white machines made as well, but like for some reason it just felt so modern. There was some like certain aspect of it that just made it stand out from everyone else.
Yeah, like I really tried to like make it super simple, like nice and clean. All the Lego bricks I used actually were like fresh out the pick a brick from the Lego store. So I was like, oh, if I don't have enough white Lego bricks, I'll just like go buy some more. And yeah, I just kind of kept it simple, like mostly white. If not, there'd be like um a strip of light blue, and that was kind of my iconic look, I guess. I don't know if that counts as iconic, but that was my style basically. Yeah, I didn't really think anyone would sort of like pay attention to, I guess, just the aesthetics of my machines, but that's definitely something I, personally tried to stand out from the other machines.
How did you come up with your channel name? It's quite a different channel name from all the other Lego machine builders, so wonder what went on there.
Um, yeah, that's a funny. Well, I don't know. For me, it was kind of a funny story. At least at the time, me and my friends, we just like, instead of like actually reading books, we just pick out random words and stuff, and then I don't know. I think there was like some fact book or something, and then the word kung fu and potato happened to be close by to each other somehow. And I don't remember exactly, but basically me and my friends would just laugh at that. And then I was trying to come up with like a different channel name, and then I just used that, I guess. There's no real meaning behind it or whatever. I don't even do kung fu, so it's kind of just out of nowhere.
I remember like it either was in your description or in the banner. It was like the only Kung Fu Potato
Oh my
Lego
gosh,
channel on
yeah.
YouTube. Like you just branded yourself on that.
I was just like, whatever, I'll just roll with it. And then, yeah, I guess it kind of stuck around. I like definitely like the potato part kind of influenced just my other social media stuff. Like my Instagram, I named it Protato for the longest time ever. And then, I mean, I changed it to my own name now. But yeah, just the whole potato thing just stuck with me for such a long time. And no one's ever really asked me where how I came up with that channel name, but yeah, it's just me and my friends poking around at books.
And speaking of inspiration, do you have any builders that have inspired you over the years?
Oh, definitely, yes. Of course, Astonishing Studios, ElectryDragonite, but I mean, they're sort of the big names, but some other, um, I guess not as big as Astonishing Studios and ElectryDragonite was Totally Awesome Lego. Uh, yeah, I remember seeing. I think he also had like I want now I'm not entirely sure, but I think he had like an all white machine as well, and I remember it had a song that just sounded really good. It was really catchy. I don't know what song it was, but um yeah, I think he just made the video super hype, and then that's why I liked his machines.
Yeah, totally awesome. Lego was a big inspiration for me in the day, and I kept quite close contact with them. Um, and the same story for me is his very last machine was a great ball contraption, and there was some music that was like so catchy. And then after he deleted his channel, I lost contact with him for a few years,
Oh dang.
and I've been looking for that song forever. It's like I still have the first few notes of the song in my head. I've tried looking everywhere and I cannot find it. Like I want to find that song before I die. Like that's just like if I find that song, like my life will be complete.
It's a life goal. Put that on the bucket list.
It's man, it's really nostalgic. And I feel like that song really fits into the time where I was most into Lego machine building. So it really holds a lot of value to that. But apart from that, the machines were also like really cool. And I think he was the third or fourth most subscribed Lego machine channel at the time. So he was one of the big ones as well.
Oh really? I didn't even know that. And I didn't even know he deleted his channel.
Oh, that you've missed out on a lot then.
I've missed out on a lot. I've been asleep for most of this stuff. I was thinking of deleting my channel too, but I was like, no, I kind of want, a piece of my, just my work and just who I was, up there for people to see and for me to look back on. So I'm glad I didn't delete my stuff.
All right, and next question is, what's your favorite machine in the community?
Oh, okay. Now we're talking. Um, my favorite machine is I don't remember the exact number, but it was Astonishing Studios' life-size machine. He made two versions of that one. But it was the original one that kind of that one just stands out to me the most, just because it looks realistic, and like the twisting mechanism with the knob was like it was like a real gumball machine. So I remember I tried to come up with like my own designs that would like um kind of use the same style, but I just couldn't come up with anything, or at least anything that actually worked properly. So that's that's definitely one that stands out to me the most.
Yeah, I remember when a lot of people were trying to make those like realistic Gumball machines, and they were they were close, but they were pretty far off still. Um, but the twisting one was really something different that wasn't seen in earlier years of the community, where most of the machines or the mechanisms were push and pull and locking arm. I think it might have still used locking arm, but it just like twists around. Uh, but yeah, I remember that was a really cool machine when it was being uploaded, uh,
Yeah,
and it was quite different from other machines that were just fully blocked out, no transparent pieces,
exactly.
and that used a lot of transparent pieces. Like that was one of the machines that like
It is
used the
pretty
most.
big.
Yeah, it like used the most transparent pieces in the community.
Yeah, that's definitely one that like I don't know. That one is like I sure it's like a long time ago, but I still don't think, at least from what I've seen, apart from his own second version of that, I don't think there's one that I think would kind of go up against it really. I mean, as we kind of talked about earlier, like we don't know like how well it actually works like off camera, but
Yeah.
just by the looks of it, that one's takes the spot for me. So,
All right, and next question is: has machine building helped you in some area of life?
oh yeah. I mean, machine building is kind of like set off um the whole direction of everything I do nowadays, which is kind of weird to say, but I mean, I'm in second year mechanical engineering right now, and if it wasn't for Lego and like just machine building and stuff, like I pretty much would have no real reason to be here right now. And just like the idea of like being like really creative and making something um that stands out, and making something that like it might not, like, yeah, it might not work 100% of the time, but just the fact that you had the um sort of daringness to kind of put together something that hasn't been done before, or just stands out in a completely different way, whether it's by design or through the mechanism. Um, that's sort of uh, that's sort of a value that I still kind of carry on today in terms of the work that I do with not just school, but and also like my own other projects and stuff. So yeah, definitely like Lego has kind of been the the main driving force that's kind of just like you've got creativity and making something that's you know innovative, quote unquote innovative and just unique, and just mechanical, being able to get hands on building something. Just putting those two together, Lego's been the one, and Lego machines in particular, it's just been the one that's sort of uh, kickstarted the whole thing, and it's definitely what has kind of kept the ball rolling ever since I got involved with Lego. So yeah, it's a big part of my life right now, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. There, so many people in the community can relate to this, particularly the older people. Um, but when we were building, we did not think of these things. We would never expect to know what would come out of this. We just built for the fun of it.
Exactly. And yeah, even though other people don't see it, you know, as long as it's, in my eyes, creative and fun and just different, I think that's sort of what matters to me the most. And that's why I'm here doing my engineering stuff right now. And it's those values are kind of what I'm putting into my own work and projects. And yeah, Lego machines have been just super influential in the direction of my life now.
Well said. Well said. What type of machine would you like to see someone make in the community?
Yeah, I would say, since there's been a recent trend in all of like the electronic stuff, I want to see a machine that is like absolutely stripped down, like back to basics, as simple as you can get, but have it just work flawlessly 100% of the time. Kind of going back to, those past mechanism designs, and just make one that is robust and can last a long time. And as an added bonus, make everything clear so you can see all the mechanism stuff. I don't know if anyone's done that.
Yeah.
If anyone even I'm sure there's people that totally can pull it off. But yeah, make it clear so we can 100% see everything that goes down in there. It sounds pretty basic, but I think that's something that maybe people haven't really thought about. So I'm going to throw that one out there. Yeah, I guess that would be kind of my not necessarily dream machine, but one that I kind of challenge people to try and do, since I feel like that might be kind of overlooked nowadays.
That's a good challenge. ElectryDragonite has done a transparent machine. There's a few other people who have, but one that works 100%. I'm sure there's some people that have, but they haven't really like publicized that. It's also really, it's challenging to do, and it's also challenging to communicate how it's 100% effective, because a lot of people just fake their videos and they can say that it's 100% effective. And how do you document that it works like flawlessly? Like, do you have to like do a time lapse of you working the machine like 100,000 times? It's definitely a challenge, but it would be a really cool challenge mechanically, and user engineering skills to try to figure that out. Because a lot of the mechanisms that most people use, they do jam on occasion. They're pretty good, but sometimes they do still jam.
Yeah, I mean, even in real life, like actual machines, they jam up, they got their flaws and stuff. But yeah, I'd say it is, a pretty considerable challenge making a Lego machine that can work pretty much 100% of the time. So
that's a good point too, as well. That real machines also jam. Like, everyone knows that a freaking vending machine jams all the time. That's actually a really good point. I've never thought of that actually, in the terms of Lego machines. So make one better than a real vending machine.
There you go.
All right. Next question is: do you have any tips, tricks, or secrets you could give out to people?
If you have trouble making your machine look aesthetically good, if you've got like random colored bricks, or if you've already like made a mechanism and you have trouble sort of finding the right colored bricks and stuff to build around it, if you've already made like the main portion of your machine and it's a bunch of random colors, this is something I did all the time, is I just build an extra layer of bricks around it. So I would build my mechanism, and then like using whatever bricks I had, it doesn't matter what color, what style they are, as long as it works. And then I would just pretty much build a shell and just a wall of I guess in my case it was just white bricks around it. But yeah, that's like all it is. I never actually had the mechanism like attached or built into the outer part of the machine. And so you can pretty much like take all the white bricks off my machines and they would still work as expected, basically. So that's sort of one thing that I kind of used a lot of the times with my machines, just because I'm always lazy. Like, once I come up with a mechanism, I'm just too lazy to try and make it again with the rest of the machine. So I'll just build around it and then call it a day, basically.
That's actually interesting. A lot of people do like build their mechanism first, but then they integrate it into their full machine. But like, so when you're talking about a shell, like you have the mechanism and then you just have like a square around the mechanism, so you can like basically take it off and you have the full mechanism still intact.
Exactly. And that's how I'm kind of able to, because I mean, at the time, like, people would always ask like, oh, what's the mechanism, like how does it work? And when you watch people take apart their machine to show the mechanism, they're taking apart the machine for sure. And I was like, okay, I don't want to do this. I just want to be able to, like, pop off half of the thing and show the mechanism, put it back, no issues whatsoever. And that's sort of my workaround in terms of just like, yeah, just build a wall around it. And then if you want to show off the mechanism, you just pop the wall off, pop off the shell, and then there you go. And you don't have to worry about like trying to integrate your mechanism into the rest of like the outside of the machine. So just makes things a lot of, it just makes things a lot easier. And I guess that's kind of my main hack in terms of pulling off nice designs on the outside.
Okay, that's a really good tip. I've never heard of anyone do that, at least not intentionally. That's like you could make numerous designs and just call it a different machine, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like that's such a good tip, because a lot of people like we said, like mechanisms always jam, and if one thing breaks, you have to take apart the entire machine to fix that and put it all back together. And I clearly remember times where like the mechanism just broke. I have to take the wall apart, and then like it's all interlocked. So then I have to take those off, and then I have to figure out how I put them back together, and then put it back,
Yeah.
and then I try it again, and it breaks again. I have to take it apart again. That's a really good tip, to have just a shell. You could just take it off and then work with the mechanism by itself.
Exactly. And like a really good sort of mindset to get into is have a reason why you're making these machines, whether it's something completely different, or you have a new mechanism, or you have just a crazy design. Just have your machines sort of unique in terms of each other, and maybe even in terms of other people's machines, because I think it's easy to kind of get lost in the amount of machines there are on YouTube. It's nice to be able to kind of take your own personal creative touches, or your own sort of mindset in how you approach these machines, and put it into the machines you make, because that's sort of what's going to stand out to other people. They're not just looking at a new machine, but they're also able to look at who you are as a builder. And I think like that's sort of the reason why I kept my machines down to a minimum. I didn't really make too many machines, but I know for sure that the reason why I've sort of built up my channel is because I wanted to create machines that reflected my own sort of creative tastes. And I think that's definitely kind of a main reason. I mean, like, sure, my channel didn't grow all that much just because I abandoned it pretty much, but it's definitely the reason why I got off the ground and I kind of took off the way it did.
That's also a really good point you brought up, that you really see the personality of like the builder and their style with bigger machines. I've never really thought of that, actually, because with small machines you can kind of add like some design aspect to it, but it can blend in with like any other channel. But once you make big machines, you can really see how people's styles and mechanisms differ from each other. Like you can clearly tell the difference between ElectryDragonite and AstonishingStudios. They got their own styles that they've built up over the years through big machines, small machines too, but the big machines are really what set them apart from everyone else. That's honestly a really good point that I don't think anyone else has really thought of before.
Yeah, like I want to say that I think it's great that the machine community is continuously growing, and it's bigger than it's ever been. But I mean, it's never too late to sort of try and integrate those sort of values uh, into the content that people create. Because now that we have this larger community, this larger audience, once we start to kind of uh, think about the reason why we're building these machines, then the easier sort of the influence these intentions will have, and it'll catch on to more people, and people will more and more people will kind of start to think about the value that their creations have, and just start to take pride in the machines they build. And not just pride as in being like proud of your machines and thinking they do well, but sort of taking that to the next level and really sort of just strengthening that community. And I think that's sort of in the end what's gonna not just grow the community even bigger, but to make sure that it grows in a strong manner and in sort of a good light and in a good direction.
For sure. Well said. Honestly, I can't add anything else to that. What are you up to nowadays apart from Lego, even though you haven't been here for 4 years?
Well, I mean, other than school and engineering, my main hobby right now is uh, mountain biking. I kind of picked up that sport a few years. That's like 5 years ago, 5 6 years ago, and it's kind of also set my life in that sort of direction. Just because, like, the job I have right now, like, I'm a bike mechanic, and I mean, oh, lo and behold, he's a mechanic. Builds stuff, fixes stuff. It's kind of like Lego in that way. But I've recently started up this uh, nonprofit with my friends, and all the things that I've said about creativity and everything that I said about Lego machines definitely has been kind of poured um, into this nonprofit. And I mean, I guess I could give a quick rundown of what it is. But basically, it's all about bringing the creativity and um, innovative designs to engineering. And because I feel like I'm sure there's a lot of Lego machine builders out there that have sort of taken the STEM route, and I feel like jumping into the STEM field, you definitely lose a lot of creativity, I would say. And I mean, me, I've definitely lost touch with my Lego machine side of things, but sort of the underlying values of being creative and coming up with designs that normally other people wouldn't do. Um, those kind of values is definitely something that we try to hold on to, and definitely spark in other people in the STEM field. And so definitely it's been a challenge to try and get things rolling, but just to kind of see how I started off with Lego machines, and how those values and the part of me that I've put into those machines at the time is also the same reason why I've started this nonprofit. Um, and yeah, basically what we do is we use computer aided design to just like design all sorts of not just contraptions, but just designs in general for engineering students and stuff. And we definitely try to make it into a community, just like the Lego machine community. Um, yeah, one that sort of promotes those underlying values and intentions of creative design, and being able to make things that you're truly passionate about, despite um, other people or trends saying otherwise.
So without Lego machines, you really just would be a potato.
I would be. Yeah, like funny thing, call myself the Kung Fu Potato back then, but it's definitely grown beyond just being a potato. So
All right. What's your opinions on the past Lego Machine community?
I guess kind of the same thing that I've said before. In the past, I kind of felt that like um, there was definitely room in terms of being creative and trying to stand out from other machines, and that's definitely why I've started my own channel. Um, but yeah, I kind of miss those times actually because sure it was kind of difficult to kind of be unique, but that was a challenge that sort of encouraged a lot of um, young machine builders and just to see where the community is at now compared to back then. I think they've definitely kind of um, went in sort of like a good direction.
And what are your opinions on the current Lego Machine community?
That one's tough to say just because I've been just so out of the loop. But I mean, seeing sort of how things are, just sort of more of an outsider's perspective, I guess. Um, I would say it's doing really well. I think I was definitely surprised to see that it's still alive and definitely thriving. But um, I would say that compared to how it was back then, I definitely do kind of miss the way things were, and I definitely think that sure it's definitely grown in a really good way, but as we said back then, as you said earlier, I mean, I feel like there definitely is still room to sort of try and uh, come up with new things and be creative. And I mean as time goes on, that just becomes more of a challenge. As more machines are being made, it's harder to come up with new things. And I mean, just for example, taking a look at Astonishing Studios, like his past, dozen or so machines have been just like you wouldn't have even like thought of these. Like I'm just looking through here. Like I watched the McDonald's machine. I was like, okay, like that's another level, you know. And I mean, I think definitely for the younger machine builders out there, like definitely don't underestimate yourselves. So sure, Astonishing Studios, those kinds of bigger channels might be like way out there uh, in terms of the level of these machines, but definitely continue to try and aspire to kind of reach that sort of level. And yeah, I think the new community definitely still has a lot of potential, and I think there's definitely still a lot of room for growth.
And on that topic, what are your opinions on the future of the Lego Machine community?
Yeah, I would say that, you know, I do kind of fear that the Lego machine community would die out. I definitely like, because if someone like me was, um, ended up kind of straying off the the Lego machine path, I wouldn't be surprised that more and more builders would kind of veer in that direction. And so I definitely do kind of think that like um, there I do fear, and I hope I'm wrong, that one day the machine community might not be as bright or as awesome as it is now and as it was back then. So I definitely hope that a lot of those young builders out there that are um, part of the community now or are just getting into the community, like definitely I would love to see um, the machine community uh, keep growing and uh, sort of just flourish really. If I think it's better to kind of try and sure, it's Lego. It might, a lot of people kind of grow out of it, but as you grow older, you just are able to sort of put more energy and passion into things, and you just become more conscious. And so I feel like for the future of the machine community, like I'd love to see it grow. And I mean, that's pretty general, but with sort of the way things are kind of going, I do fear that it might be a challenge to kind of keep it alive and bright, but that's definitely something that a lot of the builders now would kind of have to face. And sure, I really hope I'm wrong, but that's sort of just the one thing I fear, and I hope it really doesn't happen.
All right, and do you have anything else you want to add to anything?
The machine community definitely has a lot of potential, and like I said, I'm still surprised to see it live on, and I hope it definitely continues. And so it'll kind of be up to not just the machine builders now, but also the younger ones that are getting involved. Definitely push for those creative machines, push for those innovative designs, come up with all sorts of different things, and just do what you can to, make the machine community unique and diverse. And provided that you guys do that, and who knows, I might even, I really hope I get involved in the near future. But as long as that happens, I definitely think the machine community is here to stay. And yeah, I'm really excited for what's to come.
I would also add to stay in contact with people in the community right now, because
sure.
that's really what lasts throughout all of this. Especially you, Christian. Like we talked a lot when we were still uploading, and we're still in contact today. And that's the same case for a lot of other builders. What really goes on beyond Lego machines is the relationships you build with people in the community, and those last so much longer than the time you build machines. And in the end, it really isn't about the machines. At the time when you're building, it's about the machines, but what you get out of it, all the skills and life lessons you get out of building machines and interacting with people and building this community up, that's really what stays with you, and it builds you into a better person.
Yeah. And I mean, it sounds, cliche, and it sounds, pretty cheesy, but that's how it is, It's the reason why we're a Lego machine community, having these connections, it might be scary to kind of step your foot into that sort of, just deeper into the community, but, we're all here to support each other. And yeah, like you said, at the end of the day, it goes beyond just machines. Really, it's about how we grow as people, and the values that we kind of develop and bring with us into other aspects of our lives. So, it might just be a Lego machine community right now, but as it grows, it's definitely the value that you get out of it is just beyond the scope of just Lego.
And on that note, thank you so much, everyone, for making it through this episode. Thank you so much, Christian, for going in depth with these answers. And we will see you in the next episode. Peace.
Peace.